Hi, Karol. How are you? And first of all, thank you very much for sending your first approach to the research problem. I think it will help you to actually narrow what you want and start in a more concrete way. Now, first of all, I want to tell you something. I really share your concern about teachers training, especially for teachers who, especially in public institutions, they teach English, whether they're English teachers or not, but that probably they lack of strategies for teaching and knowledge and so on. However, now let's talk about in terms of how you can carry out this research. You start saying, but this is implementation of external center of support, training, and strengthening for English teachers of basic and middle education in Choco department. Okay, now one of the things we have to keep in mind when doing research problems is, first of all, and I'm going to show you here a few things, is the research problem needs to have the following characteristics. Is we need to provide findings about certain phenomena, people's perceptions, etc., etc., etc. So when you in research think about a research problem, you're not actually thinking in terms of like you proposing here, like having a project to create an institution or the project aims to solve certain problems in a field. That's what you usually do. For example, when the men they open the Ministry of Education, they open calls to finance to projects to improve different things in certain areas. The thing that you're telling me here suits pretty well, because in that case you're thinking of creating a whole center in which teachers can have the chance to strengthen their teaching skills and so on. So that is the project that you would present, and which is very valid as a way to open this center and to get financial support and so on. And once you get the center, you design the activities and everything. So that is a project that is extremely big, and it has to do with more like practical solution to a problem. Now, in terms of research problem, what you have to look here, especially at the master's level, is, of course, this project of opening a center for the future would be great for you. And I think that's something you can do and ask for, and you can apply to certain financial support given by men. But in this case, what you have to focus on is, what is it that I need to know to find about certain phenomena of people's perceptions and so on, that will actually give me important information to our field, number one. And of course, that information will be helpful for any practical purpose in the future. So my invitation here is, even though the what you're presenting is very interesting in terms of having a practical solution for our teachers, the project is it's a big project. It's something that goes beyond the scope of what we have been establishing here. Is you need to do research to find out about something. In this case, is to focus on other aspects. So in what you have written, I have identified three areas that would be interesting to work with. And of course, the idea is that you take a look at them and write it down. Write down again at least 2 or 3 paragraphs giving your ideas, so we can discuss on Saturday. Number one, you talk. Okay, so as I said, first the research problem needs to have first provide findings about certain phenomena. You need to find out about something that is controversial, something that becomes an issue. For example, you can tell that these teachers are having problems at the institutions over there to teach English. So what do you want to find out in order to see why are they having problems? Now, these findings will fill a gap in the discussion. Yes, in the field. So we're talking about what is the situation of these teachers who have to teach English in a certain context, under certain situations, following the goals from the goals established by men, etc., by the Ministry of Education. It has to be manageable and feasible, and that's the issue. I think this thing would be a big project that it will involve financial support, etc., etc. So I think it's huge. So we need to really narrow it down into something specific where you can actually find something interesting, controversial, something that will add new knowledge to this field. So I'm just going to show you these three options, and of course you can get more. You said something that English teaching educational institutions by offering to the teachers flexible methodologies and support networks that can apply in their classroom. As a result, the interest of the students in learning English will be stimulated. Okay, you have a hypothesis that if teachers actually are able to have certain strategies and methodologies to teach that will be more effective, you see that probably that will have a result in students' performance. Okay, that's what you think. So that's something that has to be supported by the literature review. So something that you can do in this project would explore curriculum design. Like in your case, would you design a program, a training course for which you need to carry out a need analysis? I mean, the final product could be the design of a course adapted to teachers' needs in specific context. I mean, you can explore that. Okay, I want to design a program, or I want to find out what are the teachers' needs and students' needs in these specific institutions. And at the end, I will have, for example, I will design a program that will actually focus or be adapted to the real situation, the real context in which people live. Because one of the problems with the goals given by the Ministerio and the programs designed at schools is that sometimes they do not meet students and teachers' needs, the context needs. And that's the reason why students actually don't see the importance of studying it, and teachers actually don't see the importance of teaching it. So that's an option to explore. Then you said something that is key, and I find it very interesting. We said that people need to learn a second language in order to progress and so on. The question is, what is the teacher's perceptions about the importance of learning English in their cultural context? Is it true? I'm sorry, I was writing something else. Is it true that learning English assures progress in their students? I mean, we all say that if you learn English, you're going to have progress in your life, get a better job, and so on. It would be interesting to see if that really happens in that context. If in the context in which they're learning English really means something. So it would be interesting to explore that from students or teachers. It could be a critical approximation to the goals established by men and the real context. I think sometimes we don't know how, teachers actually don't understand those goals, and how sometimes there's a gap between the goals and the reality. So it would be interesting to see that from teachers' point of view, to see if what they have to say about it. I don't know. You can carry out a critical study about the problems of implementing the men bilingual policy in the specific context, those public schools in Chocó. So we can work some case studies and really compare if those actually goals meet their needs. On the other hand, there's something you said, that teachers do not have the tools that allow them to become empowered of knowledge in the area. And something really interesting about this is that who is an English teacher? In terms of our identity, what are the things that teacher should actually have to be empowered? So I think it would be interesting to explore the construction of the identity of English teachers in this context. I mean, sometimes we say, okay, how do they see their role? How do they actually perceive in a reflective way what they do? How they see themselves as English teachers? What kind of Are they culture mediators? Are they enhancing this? What are they doing as English teachers? What are the features of their identities as English teachers? I think it would be interesting to do case studies with deep interviews about teachers' life stories, and the way they have constructed identities as English teachers. So I think that's something to explore is who's the English teacher? What do they actually, how have they constructed their identities? Is what they say. So I think that way we can talk about empowerment and so on. Of course, these are general ideas. That none of that is kind of a specific yet, but it will give you other things to explore. Of course, you can come with other options. So check which one would be interesting for you, or bring others, and once you have the one that you'll be interested in, you can send me a paragraph at least to say, okay, this is something I would be interested in because of this and this and this. Okay. So this way we can rewrite our research statement, because I think in this case, I think this beginning is okay, the introduction of this, but I think what you propose as an English problem, that's the thing we should modify. Okay. So tell me what you're interested in and text me, or we can have a Skype session today or tomorrow, and we talk.